Welcome to New Stripe City, a YouTube channel for die-hard Bengals fans. I'm your host, Ace Boogie. Today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to do a rebuild with the Bengals, go through the draft. So right now, I'm just making sure that the Bengals can lose as many games as possible by reordering the roster and putting horrible players in because we have to get this first round pick. So we went ahead and imported our draft class. We're going to go ahead and get some scouting done. Joe Burrow is who we're going for. So we're just going to make sure that we do our due diligence here with scouting. So Chase Young, some of the top guys are going to get scouted. So we went ahead and got to the end of our season. It looks like we're going to finish second overall, going 3-13. So it looks like the Bengals actually got 3 wins. Dolphins ended up with the #1 pick. Don't know how the Texans ended up 3-12, but that's what it is. We'll make sure that we go ahead and get the first round pick because I don't see the Bengals winning 3 games. So we'll do what we have to do to make sure that we end up with the first pick in the draft. So we're just going to go ahead and sim to the next offseason. We accomplished our goal of getting a top pick. And now we've got some moves to make, primarily some trades. Obviously, Andy Dalton was a guy that wanted to get moved on from. So we're going to go ahead and see how much cap we can clear up before free agency starts. So we're going to go ahead and make some trades here. So according to Spotrac, if the Bengals cut off some of this dead weight and make some of these moves, they could have nearly $100 million in cap. So that's going to be our goal here, is to clear out $100 million in cap space, and it starts with trading away Andy Dalton. So we're going to see here who has the most interest in trading for Andy Dalton. We're going to start with the Bears, obviously go through a lot of teams here. And it seems that we're going to fall on the Denver Broncos. So we're going to see what we can offer the Denver Broncos or what they can offer us for Andy Dalton. So I'm going to go ahead and see if they'll take, if we can get a 3rd round pick for him. So let's go through here. Let's get to their draft picks. We're going to go with a 3rd rounder, pick 72. I think that should be adequate value for Andy Dalton. So we're going to go ahead and send him that. Looks like this trade is going to get accepted. So we have now traded Andy Dalton away. So next we're going to continue to clear out some cap space. We're going to go ahead and trade away cornerback Drake Kirkpatrick. It's likely that he won't be back next year. The Bengals will probably release him or try to trade him. There were rumors that some people kind of came in and determined if they wanted to trade for him or not. We're going to go ahead and use him actually to trade for the Miami Dolphins #1 overall pick in the 1st round and in the 2nd round. And the way we're going to do this is we're going to trade the #2 overall pick in the 1st round and the 2nd round. We're going to swap picks with them for that and also send them Drake Kirkpatrick. That way we get back to having our realistic first pick in the draft. So we're going to go ahead and get this deal, and I'm going to let this speed up in the background. We're making that swap. This is going to bring us to $86 million in cap space. So we went ahead and made this trade. The offer is accepted. Now we have our realistic draft space. It's almost like we released Drake Kirkpatrick. So $84.5 million in cap space is what we have. We're trying to get to 100. So in order to get to $100 million, we're going to go ahead and trade Cordy Glenn, who obviously doesn't want to be a Bengal anyway. So we're going to see if we can get about a 4th round pick for him. We're going to land on the Buccaneers. So we're going to trade Cordy Glenn away for a 4th round draft pick in this upcoming draft. Looks like the Buccaneers are going to accept that. That gives us $94 million in cap space. So we're almost there, guys. So now we're at the part where you guys all came to this video for. We're trading Bobby Hart. We're finally going to move on from Bobby Hart. Now, we're not going to get much for trading Bobby Hart away, but I think every Bengals fan right now would be happy with this move. So we're going to go ahead and ship Bobby Hart off. We're going to go ahead and send him to the Chargers. Just give us a 6th round pick for the guy. We don't care. A bag of chips. Chargers are going to accept that, and they still lost that trade even though we got a 6th round pick. So that moves us up to $96.9 million in cap space. We still are short of our $100 million. So we're going to have to try to get this $100 million because that's what we're doing, right? So you guys know that I'm not a huge Sean Williams fan. So I think that we're going to find a trade for Sean Williams. I think we could easily get some picks to do that. So we're going to trade Sean for a 3rd round pick to the Carolina Panthers. They're going to accept that trade. and we're just going to see where we're at. So the first thing that we're going to do is go through free agency here, and I got to bring AJ Green back. I've got to get some help on the offensive line. I've got to bring Trey Hopkins back. So I'm extending Hopkins. I'm going to go ahead and see if we can get some of these top guys. Joe Thuney seems like a guy that may be possible there. We also got some linebackers that we got to look at. So Nick Kwiatkowski, we're going to go after him. We're also going to try to get Devondre Campbell, see if we can get some outside linebacker help. Bengals just need help at linebacker. We also need some edge rush help, so we'll go after Dante Fowler, see what we can do there. And safety, we just traded away Sean Williams, so let's go after Clinton Dix. Let's get a fullback in CJ Helm. Let's try to bring Tyler Eifert back, see what we can do there. Let's make some moves. So we're going to advance, and let's look at our recap here. So Tyler Eifert didn't take the deal. We were able to sign a couple of key free agents: AJ Green, Joe Thuney, Clinton Dix, Dante Fowler, Trey Waynes, Greg Zuerlein, Kwiatkowski at linebacker, Mackenzie Alexander, Trey Hopkins. We also got a fullback. So we made some moves. Not bad. It's time to start the NFL draft, and it wouldn't be right unless we are going and drafting Joe Burrow. So we're going to draft Joe Burrow here. He's the 3rd overall draft pick or prospect. So we're going to pick him. And it says that we reached. It says that he's ranked 12 in true values, but we need a quarterback, so that doesn't matter. That's cool. He comes in 76 overall, has got some pretty decent stats here, 91 throw power. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. So let's go ahead and send through the rest of this draft. We're just going to skip ahead. And at the end, I'll show you how this draft came back out. But in the second round, I kind of went with a right tackle, Alaric Jackson. And, I started looking around and seeing if I could make some trades, seeing what the best players that were available. I considered a linebacker, but being that we kind of dealt with that in free agency, I kind of went in some different directions, and I really wanted to just solidify this offensive line because that seems to be our biggest weakness. Ended up trading Billy Price during this process because he just hasn't been what we look for in Bengals players. Like, he just hasn't been a solidified guy on the offensive line. So we found a guy by the name of Solomon Kindley. So I checked out what we had here. I also traded for a left guard from the Packers. So there wasn't a need to really keep Billy Price around. So we went ahead and moved him for kind of a pick. Solomon Kindley was a good pick, according to them. I also wanted to move away from the guy that we drafted, or not drafted, but traded for from the Bills. So this is the pick right here of me trading Billy Price. So I took a 3rd round and decided to move up. And in order to move up, I moved on from Billy Price there. So Elton Jenkins, I think, was the guy that we got from the Packers. So he seemed like a smart move, a pretty decent guard for a low price, not much of a cap hit. So we made a move to acquire him. So that's us getting rid of Billy Price. And right now we got 30 mil left in cap room. So still looking pretty good, still pretty solid. And this is how our draft ended up. So Alaric Jackson, Kinley. We took a linebacker in the 3rd round. Took a wide receiver, Kendrick Rogers, in the 3rd round. Some other players here, Williams at the solidifying that lineman spot. Took a tight end, took KJ Hill, and took a cornerback. So I think we have solidified our roster. One last move that I made before the season started was trading Carlos Dunlap for Levante David. So backing things up here, let's go ahead and get to our roster. So as you can see, our roster heading into this next season, we're going to have Joe Burrow at quarterback. He's coming in at an 82 throughout the season. We've got Joe Mixon. We've got CJ Ham at fullback. Wide receivers, pretty standard. Rodgers and Hill kind of end up giving us a 5 solid receiver set. Not sure what happened to Auden Tate there. I guess he must have been let go. Tight ends are the same with the exception of Breland. We've got Jonah Williams at left tackle. Got that tackle from the Steelers, Elton Jenkins. Trey Hopkins got a good center backing him up in Darrell Williams, the rookie. Then we've got Joe Thuney at the right guard, Kinley, and we have Alaric Jackson at right tackle. So trying to do what we can there. Edge rushers, we had to definitely make some depth behind them. Noah Spence, Dante Fowler, Sam Hubbard. Definitely had to do that after trading Dunlap. Got Vernon Butler backing Geno up and Quentin Jefferson. Linebacker, we still got Pratt. We got Chasen, the rookie that we drafted. So linebacker is starting to look solid now, believe it or not. Levante David, that's why we had to do that. 87 overall. Kyle Watsky manning that right linebacker side down. So our linebackers look really good. Then at the cornerback spot, we still could use some improvement there, but not too bad. Jesse Bates and Miles Killebrew at the free safety. And then we got Ha Clinton Dix and Craven. So kind of eliminating some of those weaknesses of the Bengals roster. So next, we're going to go ahead and move into this season and see what we can do in terms of simming this season and seeing where the Bengals kind of go from here, right? So with Joe Burrow, can the Bengals be a better team than they were? And we're going to get to the halfway mark here, and it looks like the Bengals are currently at 3-4. So not what we really expected, but really not too bad either. So one thing that I want to do is kind of go through some gameplay here so we can see what happens. So first, I definitely got to go ahead and try to extend some of these players. So definitely want to extend Levante David for sure, being that we traded Carlos Dunlap for him. So we're going to go ahead and extend him. He is 30, but hey, we need a linebacker. So why not give him a 2 or 3 year deal? And it looks like we're actually going to get a win over the Ravens, 27-25. So Bengals move up to 4-4. So they actually move into the second spot of the AFC North. Browns are first at 6-2, still tied with the Ravens and the Steelers. So going to be interesting to see how this goes, man. But they follow that up with the next game, and unfortunately, it's a loss to the Cleveland Browns, the first place Cleveland Browns. So unfortunately, didn't get what we were looking for there. So we're going to go ahead and sim ahead to the end of the season and see how things turn out for us. So so far the season has been pretty solid. Joe Burrow's actually in the running right now for the Rookie of the Year, so not looking like a reach at all. We're going to go through and look at it. So it looks like we ended the season at 8-8. So not bad. Didn't make the playoffs, but that was good enough for the 3 spot in the AFC North. Joe Burrow, 38 passing yards, 24 passing touchdowns, 107 QBR rating, 74% completion rating. Running backs, Joe Mixon ran for 1,300 yards, 8 touchdowns, not too bad there. Tyler Boyd led all receivers with 1,100. A.J. Green kind of regressed a little bit. Joe Burrow also rushed for 233 yards, so believe that or not. A.J. Green, 690 and 6 touchdowns. John Ross, 530 and 6 touchdowns. Kyle Watsky, our free agent linebacker, led the way with 95 total tackles. Trey Waynes right after that. So that's probably not good. Dante Fowler had 14 sacks. Carl Lawson, 6. So not much from the pass rush game outside of Dante Fowler. But that's pretty much how things went this season. So would you take that? The Bengals going 8-8. Would you take that? 11th in the NFL in offense, 15th in defense. So a very solid team. Definitely have some things that we can build upon. Looks like Deshaun Watson ended up winning the MVP. Coach of the Year was for the Chiefs. Darius Leonard, Defensive Player of the Year. So Justin Herbert edges out Joe Burrow barely to win the Rookie of the Year. So Tua ended up finishing 4th. Jake Fromm actually finishes, and somehow the Steelers got Jake Fromm. We know that that's probably not going to happen. Actually, it could happen if they get him in the second round if he falls that far. But pretty interesting. Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to Anthony Jennings. Chase Young comes in second. He actually ended up going to the Broncos, in case you were wondering. Outside of that, you see the best positional players. Joe Burrow finished 9th in the total best QB, so that's not bad. That's kind of weird because he didn't win Offensive Rookie of the Year, but finished higher than Justin Herbert there. So very interesting. We're just going to go through and see if any of our linemen made it. Unfortunately not. That was a point of emphasis for us in the draft and in the offseason, was to just make it better. Bengals, unfortunately, even though we had some very good play from Levante David and Kyle Watsky, we did not end up having one of the best linebackers. Did have a DB though, so Trey was able to make it. We didn't get best kicker. That was another thing. I had to improve the kicker position as well. So for me, that was an important position. But your Bengals are 8-8. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. And as usual, I'll leave you with a who day all day, every day, and especially on.